Hello guys, and welcome again to this installment of the Aviator Pro channel. And today it's about the game winning strategy. So we're going to share this quickly and then see if we can just attack this game and see if we can win, right? So first of all, I want us to look at what this game is all about. It's very important for us to know the background of the game. If we understand the background of the game, it is very easy for us to play the game with knowledge, with understanding, right? So they say here, it is a cryptographic technology called provably fair, right? So meaning they can prove how fair it is. And then secondly, this technology guarantees 100% fairness. And if you read in the software, you'll see that they're talking about client seeds and stuff like that, and you'll see that it is very impossible for any third party to interfere in the game process, right? So which brings me to the fact that there's so many people claiming to be people that can beat the Aviator via, I think, software is called, I've heard of Signal, I have heard of predictors somewhere and stuff like that. That is just purely guesswork. I mean, to be honest with you, there's no way you can know unless otherwise you're able to get into the server and get the real-time data, because this is just data that comes in at the same time and then it's processed in a few seconds. So it'll be very difficult for one to be able to do that, unless if they break into the service provider server, maybe they can hack it. But I mean, when you look at it, it's just people trying to scam you of your money. I mean, to be honest with you, if they have such a software, why don't they use it themselves and get themselves 3 million, right? Rather than they make you pay 500 rand for a software that can earn them 3 million. Guys, at times I think we need to use common sense, because we just end up losing money unnecessarily. So that's why we need to do our due diligence and just check if it really makes sense before we even spend our hard-earned money. But what I think really works for me is the information that I'm going to share, right? So first of all, without further ado, let's talk about the budget, right? So the budget is the money that you are prepared to use to play Aviator, right? So this is what you need to decide before you get into the game. I've often said in my videos, do not be that person that says if you put 200, you play, it's finished. You put another 200, you play, it's finished. But at the end of the day, you see you'd have spent 1,000, which is not good, right? So you sit down, you think, how much money are you willing to part with? How much money will you be able to spend? So if you see that you've got an excess maybe of 1,000, then you put the whole 1,000 once, because it gives you more chances when you're playing, rather than put a little bit, you lose, put a little bit, you lose. So I've done that personally, and I've seen that it does not work, right? So once you are sure of your budget, also know what your target is, right? So, and what I'm saying in this case is, I'm saying you have to have an attainable target. By attainable target, I mean a target that is reachable. For instance, you have 200 rand that you've put into your account and you want to start playing. Your target cannot be 1 million, right? It's obviously everyone wants 1 million, but it's not reasonable. It's not attainable. You want something that is attainable, like you want to double your money, or you want to triple your money, or maybe 5 times or 10 times your money, right? And then that also is something that can be influenced maybe by the time also that you're going to spend in the game. You can't say I want to double my money and then try and maybe probably do it in a few seconds. If you tell yourself you want to double your money, give yourself a time frame, right? So after that, we go on to the next thing. The most important thing is the timing. You need to know, just before you start playing the game, you need to know the time of the month, right? By that I mean the Aviator plays differently when it is the beginning of the month, and it plays differently when it's the middle of the month, and somewhere maybe the first quarter or the last third of the month, it plays differently, right? So what affects it is the number of players that are playing, and then the amount of money that is on the system. So you'll find that after the 20th of the month, maybe between the 20th and the 25th of the month, it is the lowest time maybe Aviator can be paying, right? Simply because there is a fewer number of people that are playing, and then secondly, there's also a little amount maybe of money on the system. right? So that alone will show you that yes, you can win, but it shows you that there is a chance that you might also not win. Those are probably the days that you want to try and see if you can maybe double your money or triple the little money that you've got till you get to the end of the month. So that will not maybe just help you in any way. So know the week of the day that you would love to play. So by that I mean, there's days like Mondays and Tuesday and Wednesdays. For me, I normally do not target to play on those days. For me, I always try and make sure that I target days like Fridays, like Saturdays and Sundays. Reason being, this is when most of the people get time to play. And when the system has more money, it gives more as well, right? So if you have a little bit of maybe say time in between times, yes, you can use it just to build, but you can't stay in the game for quite a long period, right? So know the time of the day to play, right? I've seen many people trying to wake up in the early hours of the morning, like 2 a.m., 3 a.m. Yes, you will see that would have paid maybe a 5,000x, a 10,000x. That is fine. It's got nothing to do with you. Just ignore that. What's important for you is to know when to play. It is advisable to play during the day and the first couple of hours maybe in the night all the way maybe to midnight, but after that it is not advisable because your chances of losing is very high, right? And when you start playing, you need to play in sessions. Don't play continuously. Like I always say in some of my videos, you realize that I play in sessions. I come in, I play 15 minutes, I try to target maybe the half-hour mark or maybe the o'clock mark, somewhere plus minus 15 minutes around that time. Those are the sessions that I'm talking about. So I always see information that's being sent maybe in the comment section. People are asking me, how do you play, when do you play, and stuff like that. That's why I decided to do this video. The most important thing that you want to know is to make sure that you create your own personal operating space. That's what I call it. It is a personal operating space, meaning it's something that I believe that you should do when you're alone, right? So you isolate yourself so that you don't have any disturbances, right? Know the time of the day where you don't have any disturbances, and know the time of the day that you know you can maybe progress without any challenges, without anyone disturbing you, right? So the mind itself is a very complex organ, right? So it requires space to be able to process stuff. And it can't process two things at the same time. Just like when you're looking at the Aviator and it's running, it's on 4x, 5x, and someone calls your name, right? So immediately you hear that and your mind attends to it. Though your eyes can see the numbers running, there's no way you can be able to process those two things at the exact same time. So it is wise that you create space and then you try and see if you can just focus and concentrate on the game. So I take it so seriously that I just don't do anything. When I want to do this, I'm out. I isolate myself. I make sure that I concentrate, right? So I've seen maybe lots of videos on social media where people are playing Aviator as groups and as friends, and they're having fun and they're saying, yeah, you can press it now, cash out, cash out. There's no way you can play like that. That's why you see most of them, they keep on losing because of that concentration. It keeps on pushing you over again and over again to back to the old habits and stuff like that. The end result is you'll be losing your money. And when you lose your money, you will be alone at the end of the day, right? So the next thing is you need to know when to cash out and when to withdraw, right? So first of all, the cash out timing. When you're playing and you're targeting, say for instance, like I always do, a 5x. When you want to target a 5x, do not press when it shows a 5x on the screen. What you do is you always have to try and press it just before it gets to 5x. So for instance, if you're targeting 5x, you press on 4.6x or 4.7x, then you will get your 4x because it is continuously running. And what we see on our screens is behind the server because there's a little bit of a lag, maybe a 1 second lag or 1.5 second lag between what we see on our screens and what's happening on the service provider's server. So it's very important that when you are cashing out, try and cash out before, right? So this is something that I've learned. I remember missing 100x after I pressed when it got to 100, but it went on 109. But I still lost my 20k because I thought maybe when I press on 100, I'll get 100, but it did a stage timeout. And most of us are complaining because we think we've pressed, but because of the time lag between what's happening on our screen and what's happening on the server, you realize that that is the reason why we miss out, right? So once you start cashing out, when you know when to cash out, know when to quit, right? The game, like I said, you have to play in sessions. Just try and make sure that you try and play in a session and leave. This helps you to manage your emotions and to keep on getting focused on what your original objective was. Like I always say in my videos, try and get a little piece of paper where you can write your things down and keep on referring to it, right? So when you are done with a certain session, you have to quit, right? If you have lost, try not to chase a loss. Whatever, even if you've started with 500 and you've played your session and you're now on 200, don't keep on chasing it, because I know the mind will tell you that you need to start maybe pushing it, maybe get back to 500, then you'll go out. Or maybe at times you're telling yourself, if at least I get it 350, 400, I'll get out. But you see, at the end of the day, you will lose everything. And after you lose everything, you come back to your senses and say, why did I not just get out? Because at times it makes sense. I've seen it personally that when I play and then I try to push my money to a certain level and it doesn't get there. When it doesn't get there, and then I keep on pushing, thinking, let me just put it back where it was and then I'll come back out, I end up losing everything. So because of that, I've learned to say, okay, I do not chase any loss, right? And once I get a loss or a win, I embrace both of them. And when by embracing them, I'm saying you have to accept the outcome. If you win, yes, you're happy. But if you lose, yes, you're going to be sad, but just take it and put it behind your back as quick as you can so that you can be able to move on, right? So always take time to withdraw money. That is very, very important. Always take time to withdraw money. Get out of the game, go and withdraw money. It gives you sanity, especially after a win. Then the most important thing is, after you play the game, you need to take care of yourself emotionally. And by this, I mean you need to really take care of yourself. Okay, so for part of what I do regular exercises. Very important, because it helps in the redistribution of adrenaline, because this game is a highly emotional game. And most of you realize that after you play this game, you feel unsettled, you feel not okay and stuff like that. It's because there's so much adrenaline that is pumped into the system, and you need to regulate it and just trying to see there's equilibrium in your system, and then you can be able to relax and enjoy yourself, right? So avoid playing towards bedtime. This is one of the most important ones, because most people, just before they go to bed, they are playing, and then at the end of the day, you get so emotional and then you struggle to sleep. In fact, you end up having nightmares, right? So what you need to do is just to make sure you avoid, when you're about to go to bed, do other things that make you relax, watch maybe a movie, listen to music and stuff like that, so that you can regather yourself and just always take care of yourself. So this is part of what I think could help you. If you keep this in mind just before you play, it will help you to start attacking the game in a different manner, and it will help you to start building money, as opposed to just going for a win straight away. But I thank you very much for joining me, and I just decided maybe the scam supplement, I'll send it through maybe at a different time. But for now, I hope this will help someone somewhere, and it will help to better up the game. Thank you very much. See you in the next one.